So welcome back to Satori Graphics, and you're here today to learn the logo design process in a very short space of time. But quickly, before we do actually get into that video, there's two things I quickly want to mention, and the first one is that, yeah, as you can sound, I'm sick, and I have been sick, so the actual artwork in terms of typography in today's video wasn't actually made by myself, because I've been too sick to do so. So if you don't agree with the art style, don't hate on it, just make good use of the information in today's upload. And also secondly, I am going to make a different video on the logo design process using one of my previous logo projects as the basis for the entire video. And that's going to be longer than today's upload, but without further ado, do enjoy today's video, and I hope you learned something about the logo design process right here at Satori Graphics. Professional and functional logo designs 99% of the time do need to go through the correct design process. There is a starting point and there is an end result, and ideally that's a happy client and one happy designer, which probably should be you. But how can you traverse from point A to point B so efficiently? It all starts with information. You do need as much information as possible, so make a creative brief that can be saved onto your computer and then sent to each client upon starting a project. You need to know the client's needs and their wants, as well as the industry of the brand, and crucially important to you, you need to understand the target market of the logo design itself. After gathering as much information as possible, it's time to brainstorm. Now to brainstorm, simply take a word from the brand name, or just a keyword that relates to the business, and then generate adjectives or phrases linked to that original word. Now these will lead you to concepts later down the line. Now we can use a fashion label as an example here, because for a fashion business, you might write down things like fabric, class, elegant, trendy, catwalk, model, and so on. You then want to play around with combinations of these adjectives to create a concept, but don't only rely on the combination method. Make some notes on concepts beyond this to really tap into the background of the brand itself. So while doing this, do consider the target market and if your concepts do appeal to them, because you do want to target a select group of people in the most efficient way possible. Now I actually like to make a separate brainstorm based around the target market itself, and we're going to use that later. But again, using the fashion label as an example, the target market words might include wealthy, clean, sophisticated, and so on. Like I said, this second list will come in handy later on. So when you have a range of concept ideas, it's time to filter them down to around 3 to 5 strong concepts that you feel have the greatest potential. Now in my workflow, I tend to start to utilize Millernote, which is an online mood board generator among other things. But you can create a mood board physically speaking or online, it's completely up to you what you do. The idea is to source relevant imagery, existing logo designs, and specific color hues, also examples of typography that might be relevant to your design. You just want to build a visual expression of the kind of environment your logo design is going to fall into. You don't want to copy existing designs, but you do want to be inspired by the mood board. Some people don't even like to sketch their concepts down, but I would suggest it's a good method to adopt in your logo design process. Now, I personally only make crude sketches to express my ideas in a visual sense, and I maybe glance at relevant imagery while doing so. So as a quick example, I was recently designing a logo for a judo organization, and I would look at images of iron or metallic structures simply because one of the chosen words for the brand was iron. And this helped me to formulate a really strong and a rigid design resembling the strong and robust nature of the martial arts organization. Some people also use drawing tablets instead of pencil and paper, which of course is totally fine, and it does bridge that gap between paper and Adobe Illustrator or whatever vector program you're going to use. When you do have some sketches and your ideas have started to take a physical form, you can then use them as a reference or inspiration, or you can even just scan them into Illustrator, that's up to you. I personally don't scan anything, I just use them as a kind of reference and glance at them now and again. So going back to the target market research we spoke about earlier, you're going to want to relate all choices for your design from here onwards back to those chosen words and those chosen phrases for the target market. So when you're selecting the logo type or a color choice, always refer back to those notes on the target market. So one of the words was sophisticated, and so the choice of logo type would need to resemble that, potentially a tall, thin serif font, or maybe a very thin sans serif font. Now this is the kind of thing that you need to contemplate and experiment with in your logo design process. So once you've generated solid designs based around your 3 to 5 concepts, try and choose just 3 designs that really stand out and you feel they express the brand in the most effective way. Remember that your logo design needs to reflect the brand's message and appeal to the target market, so you've got to be critical here. It's now time to deliver the logos to your client. Now if you've written a contract prior to designing, which you probably should do, and the client has indeed signed it, you shouldn't worry about the client using or stealing your designs. Because if they do, you can take serious legal action, as it should stipulate in the contract the terms and the conditions. But that's an entirely different video, and actually I've already made one, which you will find linked in the top right corner. The client will either choose one design or ask you to refine an idea or 2, but you are now on your way to the final design solution of your logo design project. So there was a short but a sweet video on the logo design process brought to you by Satori Graphics. If you do want to keep expanding your awareness as a graphic designer and fine-tuning those skills in Illustrator, do subscribe to my channel for weekly graphic design content. Like and share my videos on social media guys, and until next time, design your future today. Peace.